Just got a 3D printer and have no idea what to do next or what half the technical jargon even means? I get it, I've been there. That's why this video breaks everything down, step by step, no confusing terms, no techie overwhelm and no fluff. Just exactly what you need to go from downloading your first 3D model through to slicing it like a pro and getting it running on your printer. If you're brand new, this is the perfect place to start. Let's get into it. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. The first thing to know is that any 3D model that you might have can't just be sent directly to a 3D printer. This is because the printer won't know what to do with it. The language a 3D printer uses is called G-code. This is a series of X, Y and Z or Z coordinates it needs to go to with directions of how to get there and instructions for how much filament the printer needs to push out or extrude at any time. Unfortunately, any 3D model files you may find online or design yourself with CAD software are not going to already be in this language, as the G-code needs to be specially written for your printer to take into account things like your printer's print volume and other parameters that can be different between different machines. This is where Slicer software comes in. Slicer software is software you have on your computer that takes any model file that you have and converts it into G-code instructions that your 3D printer needs to be able to make it. These may all be new terms for you, and I know how frustrating new jargon can be when you're trying to learn something new. So I've put a short glossary in the description of this video that you can refer to if I use any vocabulary that you might not be familiar with. Nowadays, 3D printer manufacturers have made setting up the hardware a lot easier, and there's usually not that much for you to do when your new machine arrives before you're ready to print. However, before you can take any 3D model and print it, there are a few short steps to go through. The first stage is to use a desktop computer or laptop to find Slicer software. Slicer software is the middleman between our model file and the 3D printer that converts any 3D model into slices or layers and then writes a long list of instructions for your 3D printer to follow in order to create each layer. There are some different options for what Slicer software to use, and my advice on what's best has changed over the past few years. Most 3D printer manufacturers are very keen to have you use their own branded Slicer software, but in most cases this is just a rebadged version of open source software. Now, I won't get into the history of how it came about and what it's based on, but right now and for the foreseeable future, the best option in my opinion is Orca Slicer. Orca Slicer has the most features, is very user friendly, has the most options for different 3D printers it works with, not to mention that it's free. Now, if your printer is very new, then you may find that there isn't a profile for your particular printer in Orca just yet. However, printer profiles are constantly being added, so it shouldn't be long before a profile for your printer is available. In the meantime, most manufacturer-supplied slicers are now based on Orca or its brother Bambu Studio, so everything in this video should also apply to those two if in the short term you find yourself stuck using one. Orca Slicer is actually based on Bambu Studio, so they look and work in a very similar way. So if you have or are thinking of buying a Bambu Lab 3D printer, everything in this video applies to Bambu Studio too. So before we can do anything, we need to download and install the software. You can find a link to the Orca Slicer website in the description below, so when you're ready, download the right version for the type of computer you're using and install it. Once it's installed, open Orca Slicer, hit Get Started and then choose your region. You can then choose your 3D printer from the extensive list in the printer selection window. Once this is done, you'll see the filament selection screen. Here you can select any filament that you want to be able to choose from in a drop-down list later. Don't worry if you don't know what to select here, just make sure you have a generic PLA and maybe PETG, which will be enough to get started with. You can easily add any others you want later, so don't spend too much time going through this list. You then have the option of stopping information from going to Bambu Lab's cloud services if you have a Bambu Lab machine, and then the option of installing any plugins. Again, at the moment this only affects anyone with a Bambu Lab machine, which I do, so I install the plugin. After hitting finish, any plugins will be quickly installed and then you're ready to start your first project. After selecting to start a new project, the main project interface of Orca will open. This is where we'll import our model files to do anything we need to before sending the sliced G-code to our printer. On the right, you'll see a graphical representation of your printer's bed, which you can rotate and pan by holding different buttons on your mouse and moving around. You can also zoom in and out by using the scroll wheel. Along the top of the screen, there are 4 tabs, but we're only going to look at the first 3 today. Those 3 tabs are Prepare, Preview, and Device. Prepare is where we bring in our 3D model and select the settings we want the software to use when it slices the model ready for our printer. Preview will show us what the software has done after slicing the model and gives us a chance to look through the layers to see how the printer is going to construct our model, and we can decide if we're happy with what it's going to do before we waste any time or filament. And then Device allows us to see the status of our printer before, during and after a print, and lets us control it and even view the image from the printer's camera live if it has one. If you want to skip the assembly headaches, PCBWay handles everything from component procurement to SMT or BGA placement, AOI inspection, and final testing for quantities from 5 to 5,000 boards. With services like PCB prototyping, assembly, CNC machining, 3D printing, and injection molding, they cover every stage of the product lifecycle. Free laser cut stencils, in-house functional testing, and detailed inspection reports come standard, ensuring plug-and-play PCBs arrive at your door. Get your quote now at PCBWay.com. In order to take advantage of the device page in Orca, you'll need to connect to your printer. Now, while most modern 3D printers are capable of being controlled remotely, not all 3D printer manufacturers allow you to do so without restrictions. If you have a 3D printer from one of the less controlling manufacturers, then once you've connected the printer to your home network using the options on your printer screen, you should be able to connect to it and control it from within Orca's Device tab after entering just a few details. First, you need your printer's IP address. This should be displayed somewhere in your printer's on-screen settings, but if it's not, you can find it in your router's settings. Back in Orca, next to your selected printer, if you click the connection icon, a window will open where you can select the type of firmware setup on your printer and then type in your IP address. If this is successful, selecting the Device tab then enables you to connect to and control your printer. Different printers will have different features available here, but if your printer has a camera, one of the most useful things you can do is see what's going on with your printer in real time. Don't worry if you couldn't connect or your printer doesn't allow remote control. I'll show you how to transfer the files to your printer without this connection a little bit later. Coming back to the Prepare tab, you'll see that you have various options for settings you can change, but to begin with, the only thing you need to concern yourself with is the filament to use. If you have a fancy multi-material printer, then you can add multiple filaments with the Add Filament icon in the heading, but my advice would be to just start with one for your first print. Select the filament you want to use, and hopefully you will have already loaded this into your machine. If you haven't loaded filament yet, I'd advise doing so now, ready. If the filament you want to use isn't in the list, select to add or remove filament, and then tick the options you want from the list before confirming. It will then appear in the drop-down list for you to select. Now we're ready to import a model and start getting it ready to print. Now it may be very tempting to try and print that Mando helmet or some crazy multicolored model that you've been itching to get your hands on, but to begin with, print something small and simple like this calibration cube, which I'll link to in the description. This won't take long or use much filament, so it's not a big deal if it goes wrong. Download the files for whatever you plan to print and make sure you extract them to a location you can find if they need extracting first. This is a stage that trips a lot of people up as you can't import the zipped folder, only the individual model files within it. To import the model file you want to slice, back in Orca, click on the cube icon at the top and then find the STL or other type of model file that you just downloaded and extracted. Now, as I said before, there are a lot of different settings you can change, but if you know nothing about what the settings do, my advice would be to just hit Slice Plate. In the preview page, we can use the slider on the right to look through all of the different layers to see how the printer will construct each one to build your model. This simple cube doesn't need any changes, so if we're happy, we can select Print. A window then pops up that allows us to edit the file name and choose whether to just upload it to the printer or to upload and print it straight away. If you just upload it, it will only be sent to the printer and you can then manually start it from the printer's display later instead. If you weren't able to connect your printer for remote control in Orca, then just change the print option to export G-code file and then save your slice file to the SD card or USB stick from your printer. When you insert this back into your printer, your sliced file will be ready to print from the list of files available. Now we've got our first successful print under our belt, let's try something a little trickier. I'm going to print this little octopus as it has overhanging features that will need supporting, and it gives me the opportunity to show you how we do it. Now, as I said before, there are a lot of different settings you can change, but if you know nothing about what the settings do, again, my advice would be just hit Slice Plate first. Once you slice the model, you can again look through the layers on the Prepare page. As you can see, when I slice the plate, I get a warning saying that it seems the object has floating regions. It suggests that I reorientate the part or enable support generation. If you want to see the areas that Orca thinks might be a problem, with the line type selected from the drop-down menu on screen, we're looking for overhang wall. These are areas of any layer that would be trying to print in thin air, which would very likely fail because of, well, gravity. So to stop these areas just dropping down, we need to put something underneath them to give them support. You can see that the overhang wall sections on my model are a darker blue. There are lots of little dots which we're not going to worry about, but the nose section has a big area that is clearly trying to print in thin air. To give this area some support, come back to the Prepare page and then under the Support tab, tick the box for Enable Support. This time, when we slice the model, you can see that we now have lots of bright green supports all over the model, which would give us a nice reliable print, but would also take ages to remove afterwards. So what I'm going to do is go back to the support options and reduce the support threshold angle down to only 5 degrees. This time when we slice, we only get supports on areas that have an angle within 5 degrees of the horizontal, which almost gives us what we want. This is a quick setting to play with to try and get the supports in the ballpark of what you want. Here we can see that there is a plug of support material in the middle of my print, which isn't strictly necessary. Yes, the material in this area is printing over a void, but each end of the line has a wall to attach to. So when we check the color coding in our line type, we can see that it's not an overhanging wall that needs supporting. It's labeled as a bridge, which will likely print fine, as often filament can be stretched over a gap before cooling in place. To remove the supports in this area, there are two things I could do. I could scroll down in the support options and tick the box next to Don't Support Bridges, or I can go back to the Prepare page and use the Support Painting feature to block supports on the surface where I don't want them. You can see the controls if you hover over the keyboard at the bottom of the window, and I can see that right-clicking blocks supports. Using your mouse, rotate the model so that you can see the surface you want to block supports on and paint out the area with the right mouse button. Now that our model looks like it will print well, we can print plate. If you've learned anything so far in this video, let me know by giving the video a like and think about subscribing to the channel. It's very easy to move on to the next video on YouTube and lose that one channel that helped you with something. I do it all the time. Watching this much of a video means that there's a very good chance that you'll like some of my other videos, and subscribing is a great way to tell YouTube that you might want to see more. If you followed along and both of these two models printed well, then you're now well on your way to being able to print pretty much anything you want. But what about when you want to change some of the settings that affect how a model will be printed? As I briefly mentioned, many of the settings you may want to change are on the left of the Prepare and Preview screens. We've already looked at the printer and filament sections, but the process section has a lot more options to play with. I won't go through everything as it would make this video incredibly long, but I will cover the basics. Firstly, in the process heading, you have the option of global or objects. Changing this means that any changes you make will either affect all objects within the project or just the individual objects that you select. The Advanced button gives you an expanded list of options below, but for now, just stick with leaving it off. The first drop-down box in the Process section lets you choose between general print profiles, which will likely be labelled with their layer height. As a general rule, the thinner the layers, the finer the detail on your finished print. However, reducing the layer height also means that more layers would need to be printed to build your model, so the print will likely take longer to complete too. Once you've selected the layer height you want, then you have more options below with a number of tabs. Now, if you're using one of the other Orca Slicer or Bambu Studio variants, you may have more or less tabs here. Also, if you edit settings per object, then you'll also see another tab. For now though, we'll just look at quality, strength, support, and others. I won't look at multi-material as that's only for printers that can do filament changes and will need to be covered in another video. The quality section, not surprisingly, gives you the options that affect the general appearance of your print. You can change the layer height, position of the Z seam, along with a couple of other things that will affect how your printed model will look. If you want to know exactly what each setting changes, all you have to do is hover over it to get a pop-up explanation. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on each setting, I'll just tell you where things are located. The Strength tab has all of the settings that will affect the physical properties of your model, but not necessarily the way it looks. For instance, here you can change the density of the infill inside your model and how thick the walls will be. Support, as we've seen, is all about supporting any parts of your print that need it. If your model doesn't need supports, then you don't need this tab. If you get a warning about floating regions, then come to the Support tab, Enable Supports, and play from there to see what your changes do. The Others tab covers a few settings that don't fit within the other categories. In here you have settings for skirts and brims, which are features you can add around the bottom of your print to ensure the filament is extruding correctly before printing your model, and you can use a brim to increase the surface area of smaller sections to make sure they stick well to the bed. The other setting I sometimes change here is print sequence. You have the option of by layer, which means it will print a layer on each object of your bed before moving up to the next layer. Or by object means that it will print each whole object before moving on to another object. By object is good if you are printing with a material that tends to be stringy, or if you want one thing quickly and don't want to wait until everything is finished. The downside of printing by object is that you need a lot more room around each object so that the parts of your printer don't come into contact with already printed objects. If you're wondering where all of the temperature, cooling and retraction settings are, Orca keeps all of those inside the filament profiles, which I find is a much better way to do it. To edit any of these settings, hit the edit icon next to the selected filament and a pop-up box appears where you can edit anything you want and then save as a new profile without messing up anything else. Likewise, you can edit anything in your printer's profile by hitting the edit icon in the printer section. Here you can change things like speed and acceleration limits, but it's unlikely you'll need to mess with anything here. I rarely do. You'll also see some more icons at the top of the Prepare Pages workspace. I won't go into everything, but as we've seen, the first cube icon is for adding models to your project. The second icon, which looks like a grid, is for adding a plate. Orca gives you the option of adding multiple plates so that you can set up multiple objects over a number of different plates, all within the same project. This makes it much easier to organise projects with multiple objects, and you can switch between plates easily, and as we saw earlier, even change the settings of each plate or object individually. In the middle of this workspace heading, there are Move, Rotate, Scale and Lay on Face icons. These are all useful for moving your model around and changing its size if you want to before printing and get used a lot. The next one you're likely to want to use is Support Painting, but again, we've already seen how that works. If you want to run any calibration prints, then you can find all of the options at the very top of the screen, but if you buy any of the 3D printers I recommend on my channel, you're very unlikely to need these unless you have a specific problem to fix. Hopefully, you're now armed with all of the information you need to get started with your new 3D printer. If you're still deciding what printer to buy, check out this playlist that will give you a better idea of your options. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.